Hi Leanne, thanks for joining us today. So firstly, could you tell us what impact is the cost of living crisis having on the safety of individuals?
The cost of living is having an impact on individuals in a number of different ways, and people are doing their best to try and save money. And our concern is around the fact of the ways that they might choose to do that.
So what are some of the heating hazards people need to be aware of when looking for different ways to heat their homes?
If they're going to be using things that haven't been used for a long time. So if we think, for example, about an electric heater, if that's something that's been in the loft for a couple of years and perhaps hasn't been maintained, just make sure that before you use that heater that you give it a good old dusting, that you make sure that it's in working order so that it looks as if it's in one piece. There's no cracks, there's no breaks. It's got a stand so that it's going to keep it off the floor. There's no frayed wires or anything like that. So it's just a good old check to make sure that that heater looks safe to use. And if you've got any concerns, of course, then don't use it. Also, when you are using something like an electric heater, keep it away from anything that could burn. So things like don't dry your clothes near it, curtains, any of those other flammable materials that could potentially cause an unnecessary fire. So it's those kind of accidents that we're looking to avoid, and also things like overloading electric sockets. So we do have a socket overload calculator on our website that people can use. So it's just being mindful that even those sort of four gangway, they only have the ability to cope with so much ampage. So it's just about not overloading them and making sure that you're doing so safely. Other types of heating hazards that people need to be aware of, things like log burners or open fires. So it might be that people haven't used them for a few years in the same way as something that you might use to heat that's up in the loft, like an electric heater. So with log burners, one of the issues that we experience is perhaps the chimney's not swept. So is it safe to have that fire in the chimney? So make sure that that chimney is clean. We do go to a number of chimney fires each year. With the logs themselves, make sure where they're stored, so keep them away from the fire itself, because obviously the logs themselves can get quite warm. Again, with the fire, put a guard in front, make sure that those ashes can't come out, those sort of the sparks can't come out and catch light to carpet or a rug that might be in front of it. And in a similar way that we would advise with heaters or something like that, do make sure that the anything that could be flammable is well away from it. So again, drying clothes, any fabrics, curtains, that kind of thing, anything that might melt. So just about using that in the safest way possible. Some of the other things that people could use could be, for example, electric blankets, and it's things like that where people don't use them all the time. So they're not used all year. They kind of come out and get used in the winter time. And it's just making sure that if you're going to use something like that, has it got a safety off switch? Um, will it turn off when it reaches a certain temperature? So, if you're really using something that's perhaps quite dated, is that going to be as effective now and as safe now? Um, do not use a hot water bottle while you're using the electric blanket. Water and electrics do not mix.
And what should someone do if an electrical item does catch fire?
If anybody experiences something that catches fire at home, if you are able to turn the electrics off safely away from the actual fire itself, then by all means do so, and then leave the room. Shut the door and leave the room. Shutting the door is important. If we can shut the fire in, it will stop it, prevent it from spreading too quickly. But call the fire service and get out. We've got do not attempt to tackle a fire yourself. What may feel quite simple often can escalate and you can end up getting very hurt.
So what final piece of advice do you have for the residents of Kent?
When looking to save money on energy bills and things like that, it's important for people to be to well and stay well, particularly babies, older people. So look after your neighbours as well. So yes, of course, we're all individually quite concerned about saving money here, but look out for those that are around you. Is there anybody vulnerable that needs additional help? And potentially, if you do need to signpost them for extra help. So we've got our Safe and Well visits that are free. This is a visit that the fire service carry out, and this looks at the fire safety in your home. And we do include additional things, for example, like a winter warmth pack that is available for people. So if at all, if anybody wants advice, then go to our website or ring our free phone number and our and they will talk through with a specialist team there about potentially having a Safe and Well visit to their home.
We can't take action without your reports. We need everyone who comes across fake, illegal, or unsafe goods to speak up and report them. Your reporting can help us target our resources to warn and protect others. Report to the charity Crimestoppers on 0800 555 111. You'll stay 100% anonymous, always. To get advice, call the Citizens Advice Consumer Helpline on 0808 223 1133.